I don't know if you had a choice to come listen to me, but for those that didn't have a choice, sorry. That did have a choice, thank you. Who's a sports fan here? Just so I can have
I love sports.
Okay. Who's not? Who's not a sports fan? Okay, no, it's fine. I want to know because my objective here today is it's easy to have those that are into sports kind of listen to my story. It's important for me to connect with those that aren't into sports. Because my story is not just about baseball or sports. So it truly is about life and overcoming challenges and obstacles and perseverance. And you guys at your age have your life and world in front of you. And there's some things hopefully that you can take from me and my story into your world. Because my life started out pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I was one of 5 kids. I grew up in Guilford, Connecticut. And I played 3 sports growing up: baseball, basketball, and soccer. I was a good student, and I had goals and aspirations to play Major League Baseball. Does anyone in this room have a goal? It doesn't have to be a sport-related goal, right? A goal is something that you're striving for. If we don't have a goal or something that we're striving for, we're kind of just waiting and hoping and thinking something may happen good for us. But what I've learned, if we don't have a goal, it's a challenge. When we have a goal, we have something we can go after. You know what my goal was? Play Major League Baseball. Yeah, guys, I wanted you a little bit involved with me this morning. Now, what are my chances of making it to the major leagues? Anyone know? No. Okay,
like
I'm
5%.
Actually quantify it for you. There's 30 teams in the major leagues. Every team has 25 guys. Simple math, 750 people. There's 750 people in the entire world at any one time that's playing Major League Baseball. There's 8 million people, roughly, plus or minus, in the entire world that are striving for one of those 750 spots. Quick math, 0.0009375% chances that I had to make the major leagues. Now, you want to make those even worse? I'm 5'8"3/4". I'm just tall because I'm on this, right? So add a 0 to that percentage. I'm from Guilford, Connecticut. 0 professional baseball players ever from Guilford, Connecticut. So add another 0. And I'm Jewish, so we can add like 2 or 3 more zeros, right? So that's my chances. Why on earth would I decide that's what I want to do? And not to mention, anyone think baseball is a stupid sport? Please raise your hand if you do. Totally fine with that. It is. Okay, so guess what? My hand is being raised too. Why is my hand being raised? It's a stupid sport for this reason. What kind of an idiot decides to play a sport or a game where you're going to fail 70% of the time and be considered good? You ever think about that? As a hitter, if I'm failing 70% of the time, I'm really, really good. Now, in anything that you do in your life, anyone, if you fail 70% of the time, are you going to be happy? No. What a dumb sport, right? Right? Now, here's what baseball does, though. Here's what it does. It sets you up for success. Now, why? Because failure is one of the greatest things that we are given. Anyone agree with that? Failure is good? Yeah. No. Failure is good if you learn from it, if you take something from it, if you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and give it your all, and then you overcome that, that's awesome. Everyone in this room has been given a gift, right? Some sort of a gift, whether it's somebody can read really well, do science really well, run fast, jump high, throw hard. Does anyone agree that they've been given a gift? Anything? Okay. Would everyone agree that there's one gift that every single person in this room shares outside of the gift of life? Jewish. What? Being Jewish. You got it. How'd you know? Sorry, So we've all been given the gift of life. We've all been given the gift of being Jewish. But the one gift that we all share is the gift of perseverance. Now, how do I know that we all share this? Because every single person that's sitting in this room has overcome some form of obstacle in their life to be here. Would you agree? Yes. The greater the obstacle, the greater the challenge, the greater the reward will be. So if you guys have a goal, have a dream, have something that you want, go get it. Don't expect it to happen. So once again, getting back to 5'8" 3/4", white, Jewish, Guilford, Connecticut, 3 sports. I played my objective every single day was to do something to better myself. I had to work harder than the other person. Who was the other person? Everyone. I don't know. There doesn't need to be a face to somebody. It just needs to be challenge yourself. Do something for yourself to give yourself a chance to better whatever it is that you want to accomplish. So I went to high school, 3 sports, won a state championship in soccer. I was an All-American in soccer and baseball. Life was good. I wanted to get drafted, but I also wanted to go to college. So I chose the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Anyone know where that is? Yeah, Chapel Hill, right? Anyone know somebody famous that went there? Michael. Bingo. So I went to the same school. Michael went to the same school that I went. So I went down to the University of North Carolina. Wasn't really the highest recruit, but I wanted to prove to myself I could play at the top level. And my freshman year, my freshman fall, we're taking a knee before our very first kind of inter-squad game, and we take our hats off, and the coach starts doing the Lord's Prayer. Kind of weird, right? It was the first time in my life that religion kind of crept into my sanctuary of sport. But what was cool for me is I was the only Jew at that time at University of North Carolina on a baseball team, and probably one of the only ones ever. It was in the Bible Belt, but what was great was that was who I was. That was my identity, and people were intrigued by that. They were intrigued by me being Jewish. So I got to talk about my religion. I got to talk about being bar mitzvah. I got to talk to my teammates when I didn't go to practice on Yom Kippur. So it was cool. It was a great experience for me. Fast forward, my freshman year, I ended up having a very difficult first at-bat. And my first at-bat, I struck out. And it was in the Disney tournament. I was playing center field, leading off for the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I had beat out the starting center fielder from the year before, who had gotten a $2 million contract offer by the Yankees out of high school, who was on a Moorhead scholarship, which was an academic and athletic scholarship. And he was also the Team USA starting center fielder. So like the percentages that I had to make it to major leagues, I had like 0% to be the starting center fielder, but I earned that opportunity. So he played left field, I played center. But I want to tell you guys something that's really, really important. Attitude is whose decision?
Yours.
Mine. Well, no, it's yours. Attitude is your decision. You control your attitude. Now, things are going to happen to you in life, right? Bad things, good things. But we can't control the human emotion, the human response, but we can control the attitude of what we do next, right? So after I struck out my first at-bat, I went back to the dugout. I had to run because that's what we had to do then. It was pretty embarrassing. And I sat down and I immediately thought, oh my God, like I just struck out my first at-bat, and the what if factor. Has anyone ever had that what if? What if it keeps going bad? What if the next thing's bad, right? Well, that's up here. That's our own attitude. Now, what is not in my physical size, my 5'8" 3/4", and the thing that you cannot measure is what's up here in your mind and what's in here in your heart. So your passion and your desire and your willingness to overcome challenges makes up who we are. So when I struck out and I'm sitting in the dugout and some of those negative thoughts started coming through, I had to zap those and say, I can, I will, and I'm going to. Positive affirmations, giving yourself that positive talk. There's nothing wrong with that, whether it's out loud or inside your own head. So the next at bat, I went up confident, and I ended up hitting a ball off the right center field wall. I ran for a triple. My legs I legitimately almost fell over after I hit second base because I was so nervous and excited. So I got on third base, and it was amazing. But it's crazy because think about this: if my attitude was in the wrong place, oh poor me, I can't. What if it keeps going bad? The next at bat, instead of hitting a triple, I could have struck out, popped up, 0 for 2. Then the next at bat, I'm already up, and same thing, ground out, 0 for 3, 0 for 4. Then the next game, well, I just had a bad game. Did anyone see the pattern? But it all started with my attitude. That was it. So instead of having a potentially negative thing happen because of my attitude, I had a positive thing happen, went 6 for 12, made the all-tournament team, and then ended up having one of the best freshman years in University of North Carolina baseball history. I hit 386. I was, I made freshman All-American. I was ACC Rookie of the Year in the conference. And I tell you all this, not to tell you how great I was. I was pretty good. But I tell you this because I was on the top of the world. This is, I mean, you guys with me? Like, it sounds like I'm doing pretty good. Nothing is going to stand in my way. There's no real challenges. Until I came back, or I went to Team USA trials, so I was one of the guys now going to be on Team USA. The last night that they were making the team, I wasn't picked, I wasn't selected because they got 2 guys that didn't sign professional contracts to come back to the team. So I had to start in Wilson, North Carolina, in a summer league team where I was in a host family's house with no air conditioning. I was on a team when I went there, the team had already started. So I legit, this is like real life, this actually happened. I walked onto the bus the first day, onto the van, and I go to sit down, and the kid goes, you can't sit here, this is my seat. It had nothing to do with being Jewish, he was a jerk. Like, but that was where this whole, like, I'm great, I'm on the top of the world, and then I was at Team USA, and you're telling me where I can and can't sit. My attitude actually affected the rest of my summer. Why am I here? Poor me. This sucks. This league is not good. And I played into that. So I went back to school at the end of the season, and my very first, like, we didn't even get together as a team, my very first, like, workout in the stadium, I was with an incoming freshman. We were doing, like, a dumbbell bench press or decline bench press. And I went to drop my dumbbells, his dumbbells were on the ground, and I caught my fingers in between the dumbbells and sliced my fingers, and they were dangling from my hand. Sorry for the graphic, apologize. But I put my hand in my stomach, I had a pool of blood. I ran into the coach's office, he thought I was actually shot. Now I give you the graphics to understand the complexity of when I got taken to the hospital, the coach, he was with me, and I heard him say to the doctor, "You've got to save his hands, he was the Rookie of the Year of the conference." It's funny. Like, I was happy, at least that somebody's going to care